I got one tip that will save your family potentially thousands of dollars. By the way, it's free. I'll tell you coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so you're hustling, you're saving money for your future, you're saving into retirement accounts, and then likely, I'd probably say 30% of the folks that we meet with, they end up saving and investing into a non-retirement account, just an individual account or a joint account. And what I mean by that is you just go direct to Vanguard or to Fidelity, or maybe you've worked with a financial advisor and they've opened up an American Funds account. It's not an IRA, it's not a Roth, which I would say is probably problematic. It's not a 401k, it's just you open up an investment account. Maybe this is your side E-Trade account where you trade Tesla stock or whatever. You just open it up. Especially, especially for those little innocent play money investment accounts. This is very, very common. You just open up an individual account. And one of the financial planning ideas that never really comes to you is, well, what happens to that account if I pass away? Well, number one, we're all invincible, right? Nothing bad will ever happen. But I saw just recently someone wrote an article asking a question about, listen, my folks passed away and they never had a will and they never had any instructions on things. So listen, even though we all think day to day nothing bad will happen to us, we also know what's inevitable. And the truth is, the way your assets transfer, you have a lot of influence today on how easy or difficult that is, how cheap or how expensive that is. So this account that you just decide to open up, maybe it's just in your name or it's a joint account. Like I said, maybe it's that TD Ameritrade or E-Trade account that you're just doing some stocks in, or maybe a Vanguard account, Fidelity account, something like that. Here's the secret. One additional step you can do when you set up that account, and it costs you absolutely nothing to save your family potentially thousands of dollars. Add a TOD to that account. TOD, it stands for transfer on death. So you open up this account, and for many of them, they leave the jargon out of it. They just ask you, would you like to add a beneficiary to this account? And what you're actually doing is adding a transfer on death instruction to that account that says, listen, if something happens to me, this account should go to this person or these people in this percentages. And if something happens to me and them at the same time, then it can go to these contingent beneficiaries as well. It's simply adding beneficiaries to this account, adding instructions to that account that if something happens to you, here's where their money goes. How does this save you money? Those instructions avoid probate. It avoids probate. So if you pass away suddenly and there was no warning, so you couldn't scramble and get all your ducks in a row, and then someone's left to transfer these dollars, if there's no transfer on death, if there's no TOD assigned to this money, then that account's going to go through your will. And if you don't have a will, it's going to even be a more lengthy, more expensive process. But going through the will, there will be a cost associated to transitioning the ownership of those dollars, i.e. the probate process. And there's a cost for that. And there doesn't need to be. Because adding this transfer on death, this TOD to that account, there's no cost to that. It's not as if you are working with someone like me and we manage money at Fidelity and we say, hey, would you like to add a TOD to this joint account? It's not that you say, well, yeah, I'd like to. And I say, well, okay, that'll be $10. No, it's just, would you like to add a beneficiary? Would you like to add a TOD? In fact, we make it a process. Anytime someone is opening up an individual or a joint account, we're adding a TOD to that account. We are, because we want to make sure that those dollars transfer smoothly. So look through, here's your action item today. Look through your accounts. Any individual or any joint account, any non-retirement account, look and say, do I have a transfer on death attached to that account? Do I have a TOD attached to that account? And if you don't, contact your certified financial planner, or if you're not using one, of course I'd tell you you should be, but if you're not using one, then contact the company and say, I need to add a TOD to this account. It costs you absolutely nothing, and you can update it at any time. The person that you list as the beneficiary has no authority over that account at all. So it's not as if, well, they can go in and have access to it. They won't even know. It's just you've added them as a beneficiary. So that's your action item today. The other thing is, during this process, we go through every other year for our clients and do what's called a beneficiary audit. Because if you're combing through your accounts to see, well, do I have an individual or a joint account, a non-retirement account, and should I be adding beneficiaries to those, adding TODs? You should at the same time be going through your IRAs, be going through your Roth IRAs, your 401ks, and even life insurance, and double checking who you have listed as beneficiary on all of those accounts. Why? Because again, we never think anything's going to happen to us, but inevitably things do. And when it happens suddenly, and again, you don't have time to react or get your ducks in a row, you want to make sure everything is set up. It can save your family thousands of dollars and help make things much, much more efficient. So do that beneficiary audit. One more thing that I would tell you, what if you don't have this side investment account, an individual or joint account? Because to me, one of the other big mistakes I see is people have these accounts and I look and say, well, have you been putting money in a Roth IRA? Oh, no, I haven't. Well, why do you have this money in an individual account or joint account growing taxable, and every time you sell or buy something, there's potentially tax consequences? Why not just have that money into a Roth IRA or into a retirement account? So what if you don't have those? And what if where you keep a lot of dollars potentially is in the bank account? Can you add a TOD to a bank account? Technically, no, but in theory, yes. For some reason, just because the financial world is more complicated than it should be, instead of a transfer on death, for bank accounts, they call it a payable on death, POD. It's the exact same thing. The exact same thing. So if you've got your emergency fund where you've got, $15,000, $20,000, $50,000, something like that in a bank account, or you just like to have a lot in your bank account and you don't have a beneficiary listed, just know if something happens to you, that money is going to go through probate, and there is going to be a cost associated and a lengthy process associated with transferring those dollars. You can avoid that lengthy process and avoid that cost by adding a payable on death to that account. Again, those people, the people that you list, they have no authority over that account, but the money will transfer to them efficiently at no cost. So there's your action item today. Do you have a joint account, joint investment account, an individual account? If so, add a TOD to it. At the same time, go through IRAs, Roth IRAs, life insurance, 401k, double check who's beneficiaries of your account. And then take a look at your bank account structure. See, do I keep a lot of dollars in the bank, $15,000 or more, and take a look and say, should I add a payable on death, a POD, to those accounts? All of this that I'm talking about is part of the comprehensive financial planning process, which is why in every single video, I'm going to ask you, go work with your certified financial planner. And if you don't have one, you can contact one of ours on our team, because this entire process is something that your certified financial planner will do through the comprehensive financial planning process. If your CFP is just selling you investments, they're not going to help you with this. But if they're doing comprehensive financial planning, looking through all 6 areas of your financial life, estate planning is one of them. And they're looking at how that estate planning section impacts every other section of your financial life, your bank accounts, your investment accounts, and your protection planning. So contact your CFP today. If you don't have one, reach out to a member of our team. You can find us online, wisemoneyshow.com or corehorn.com. That's Corehorn with a K, or you can send us an email, info@corehorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.